I thank the doctor for the lecture, for the explanation. I think, from my analogy, is it possible all these things you have said between husband and wife, where there is various temperaments, situation on ground, references of past experiences, and this and that in relation to male and female? I don't know. Because what I'm trying to say, all these are saying is under normal circumstances. With tension, anxiety, problems here and there, temperaments may be high or low. Before you know it, that's from my little experience, I don't know. So I don't know what doctor can say about that. Because all this you are saying now is before you think and before you know, before you even talk, you have already, so even more faster than themselves. Let me give you one example. A friend of mine came to me with the wife. The wife is a businesswoman. The woman said he cannot sell without selling on credit. The first one was 1.6 million credit. Second one was 580,000 credit. The other one was 500,000. Why are you doing this? And this is the economy of the house. The wife is telling the husband that they cannot sell without credit. And this is telling on the. And every time you say, even they went to court up to stay for 5 years on court, they still lost after selling goods. Somebody collects your goods of almost 580,000. They went to court on for 5 years. In the court they said, okay, why is the receipt we use in selling beans and rice in the market? But since there's no receipt, the judge says, sorry, we know what happened. There's no ignorance in law. No receipt. Use the beans and rice in the market with receipt. That's how they lost the case. And this thing continue. Then marriage nearly scattered. Though with all these things, I don't know. So this little experience, this you are saying now, is by the time we are saying this, first one happened, second one happened, third time, fourth. Why? This is just example. So I don't know how you are going to do this, because between husband and wife, the relationship may be very good, but when it comes to temperament and the personality, all these things coming in, all this, nobody will consider all this system of communication we are saying. Things ought to have gone astray. So please, I don't know. So that's my question.
Glory to Jesus. Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. I have some questions here, but I would like to shorten it down. The first one, I have something in my mind that I want to say, and from what you have taught us this evening, I have to say something that builds. I have two options. Is either I say it the way I feel, and maybe or maybe not, it builds or pull down, or I keep it to myself. So which way should I go? And I think the second one will go a little bit along way with what Daddy just said, temperament of an individual. We have some of us that are silent in nature. We don't like talking much. So what's the place of our temperament in this regard? People who don't talk much by nature, not because they don't want to talk, but because their nature is not really along that line. Let me say the third one and stop there. Love language. I've listened to some conversations where some love languages were mentioned. I don't know whether in the course of this particular section, this phase, maybe it will be mentioned. And if not, I want you to please enlighten us more about what love language is and how it can be applied and what should be the response to it. Thank you.
Sorry, my own is more of an addition to what has been said. I think there is a place for us to understand also. I think Doctor mentioned it, family backgrounds and also past experiences. Because those things has effect in communication. Sometimes, just like our brother said, some persons maybe from their background, you see that sometimes when you are talking, not that they don't want to respond, but because of their nature, they just, you say my husband, when I'm talking, he will just be silent, he doesn't talk, he's not responsive. It may be the background, that is his nature. Maybe if you have tried to understand, maybe from during the time of courtship, it will enhance the effectiveness of communication. Some too, maybe past experiences, maybe you are talking, before you even say one or two things, your wife has started crying. Maybe it's some will say it's emotional blackmail. uh, in such case, you may not even want to continue the discussion. Maybe you want to point out one or two things she has done. Before you make one or two sentences, she start crying, and you yourself will begin to apologize. uh, so sometimes you need to understand those aspects too, so that it will guide our communication. Thank you.
when it comes to the issue of relationship. Now, with tension, all these things that we are talking about, is it possible? What was happening before tension come? You don't start your life on tension. Do we start it on tension? So when there is no tension, why don't we establish some communication lines? So that when tension comes, those lines will be very helpful. That's my first reaction to that. Two, now, there is ineffective communication in the example you gave. How can you be selling out goods worth $500,000 on credit? Another one, more than that. Another one, more than that. How much is the capital? Even if the capital is multi-million, let it be billion. And you go on credit like that. And the person in charge tells you that I cannot sell without credit. Then you should go and also be buying without credit. Because there should now be what? That's why I say plan and agree. Madam, I agree, oh, you must sell credit. Can we now work on a percentage? Can we look at things we can sell on credit? Can we also have a limit to the credit we can give? Because when you give wholesale credit and somebody just say cannot, then there's no communication. You are just talking. You are just talking. So once you realize that, then instead of allowing yourself to get to court or get the business running, let us sit down. This is the condition that will guide our credit principle. Let us write it down. Paste it. Anyone who wants to transact business with us works on this principle. It doesn't come, you go. That is communication. You come to a level of agreement. Then, if we must now break this rule, oh, the two of us must come together again to understand why we want to break it. The moment you set that rule for yourself, it will hasten effective communication. You know the fact that you have also have agreed that when you want to break it, you have to sit down. Some people say, well, please, I can't break it. I can't go back, then the business moves. That's my little approach to it. There must have been a break in communication in the first instance. But you don't wait until tension before you begin to communicate. Normal daily communication, there must have been channels. I don't know if I answer your question. I may not answer it fully, but that's my little way of looking at that. In view of the example you give, Mr. Akande, if what you want to say, because you are talking about this which I want to say, should I keep it to myself or I should just say it? If you are saying it, it's to satisfy selfish motive, to bring out your own way, and it's not going to make the other person happy, sometimes to refrain may be good. So that you find another suitable moment when the two will agree. Are you with me? Even when you deal with, forget your wife sometimes. Let it be even with your boss. You look at mood before you also communicate. Isn't it? You also consider the mood, the position, the circumstances, the environment. If I say this thing now, will it go well? Will it not be misinterpreted? The moment I look at that Bible passage, say what you want to say, if it's not going to build love, it's not going to build love, if you're not going to build relationship, think of the other person hearing it. Once the other person hearing it would not be happy, be careful. If you want to say 3, just say 1 and watch the reaction. If the reaction is positive, go to the second. If the reaction is not so positive, keep it for another date. But the problem is this: the moment you conceive something you have not expressed, don't use it against the other person. Because that's another problem we have. On mere assumption, you have assumed my husband does this, my wife does that, and you started reacting. And you have not even asked. Don't begin to act on it until you are sure. That was the first thing I said. Be sure what you are hearing or what you are seeing is right before you say it. The problem will come when we just assume or just a mere say and we are acting on it. So if you keep it until you are able to confirm it. Silence can be a very loud communication sometimes. I agree with you that silence can be. But you are talking about the place of temperament because it's my nature to keep quiet. But it is not your nature to be depressed. Because for any impression that you find, it must certainly have an expression. When it does not have an expression, it leads to depression. And when depression comes in, it leads to organ damage. When your vital organ is damaged, collapse. Do you understand that? So for every impression that you have, find an expression for it. When you do not find an expression, it leads to what? Depression. And when depression sets in, what happens? Damage. So you don't say it's my nature. I'm sure tomorrow you'll be hearing more about temperament and different types of temperaments so that you will know. Are you with me? So, but I won't go on communication. No, as far as that is concerned, that's my little input. Love language, how it can be applied. Well, the concept of love language, which I think you are trying to bring up, is not the type of what I refer to here. Because the love language, the mood, the emotions, the different types of emotions and all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe what I should have said is love statement. Do you understand? So because I understand the psychology of the love language you are talking about, that's deeper. What I'm talking about is don't nickname your wife. Instead of looking at her pé ló ṣe bó ṣe máa ń ṣe mà nìyẹn ọmọ àránkìran. Do you understand? Those are statements that will not build effective communication. Tó bá fẹ́ bẹ sọ̀rọ̀ gbà mí ṣáàjẹ̀ ń dákẹ́ ó lè ní ọmọ kìnní kan ní báyìí láàrin gbogbo èèyàn kò mọ́ láì dá so yóò kúkú dákẹ́. Ibò kò rí pé wọ́n máa wọkọ̀ tó lọ báyìí torí pé he doesn't want to stand the ugly statements you are going to make. Do you understand? It is statements I am referring to there, not the concept of language as we are talking about. That's a different topic for another day. Now, family background, past experiences, emotional blackmail. It's very correct. Oh. There's no way. I just gave you an example now of a typical Yoruba home. Kò sínú that's the àmàlà kìí kò sí nínú upbringing kò àmàlà ìlà. But when you now interact with other people, you also imbibe some other things and begin to appreciate it. Àwọn bàbá wa tán bá toko dé those days tán bá gúnyán tán ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ tán lẹ́yìn ìgbà tán bá ṣe báyìí tán gbé ẹsẹ̀ lé orí kìíní kan báyìí kéègì ẹ̀mú wọn bẹ̀rẹ̀ tàbí ṣẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀. Ẹ wá gbábọ̀ yín o ǹtẹ́ tó gbọ́nù ẹ palẹ̀ mọ́ o ẹ máa ń kéegun yẹn bá jà mí o. Is that not what you get? That is the upbringing. That is a kind of a family background. So if you now know to understand that, but please, abọ́dọ̀ ní ẹni wá gbé lẹ̀kẹ́ ẹnìkan mà ló fọ̀ ẹnìkan mà ló ṣe báyìí ẹnìkan mà ló ṣe yí náà. Do you understand? So we now blend and become you so that we can communicate better. Now, you also talk about emotional blackmail. Yes, some of us are very good like that. If it's between the two of you, that tí o bá ti fi ìtawọ̀ sometimes wọ́n ṣe tán báyìí wọ́n bá ti rí i pé bóyá ọkọ ni ò sí nílé àbí bóyá ọmọ ló dẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tàbí bàbá wọn gbé fò. Tójú mi rí lónìí tó ṣe kìí kan lónìí. Àǹtí ẹ̀gbọ́n pé àbúrò mọ́mí máa ń sunkún gbà tán pé mọ́mí máa ń ṣe báyìí gbà tán pé àwọn again ọkùnrin àpọ́sù kan tí ó tún pè wọ́n náà ẹ wọ́n láti kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ bábábábá níjọ́ wo kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ bí o mọ̀ àwọn ní mọ́mí ṣe bàbá kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ kọ́kọ́rọ́ bí ìmú kọ́kọ́rọ́ kó nulẹ̀ kọ́kọ́rọ́ wà bí bábábábá ṣé wọn ò rí ní wọn náà ti ti àwọn mọ́ta ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ kẹ́kẹ́ báyìí. At the end of the day ọba pè padà àwọn òbí wa don't mind o act two sin two mọ́mí wọ́n tún ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn tàbí dádì ni o wọ́n tún ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Do you understand? Easy blackmail like that. Let us run away from it. Let us run away from it. You need something, go straight for it. Rather than looking, you need an attention. Call for the attention. It's your right. Don't have to blackmail your spouse. Another blackmail is okay. In most cases, obìnrin ló lè fi ẹkún blackmail àbí. Kí ni àwọn ọkùnrin máa ń ṣe? Kí ni wọ́n máa ń ṣe? Wọ́n sọ joint lọkùnrin ó lọ yóò wá dalẹ̀ yóò jáde yóò bínú jáde gbàgbàgbà tí ó máa kàrà tó bá ti wọlé kí ló ń kan lára tó fi lọ joint blackmail náà ni ìgbà tí màá fi dé yóò ti sùn it's another emotional, it's another different type of emotion, blackmail. That will not build communication. Above all, let us build our relationship on trust. Once there is trust, there will be free communication.